that may be incorrect, but we are now been upgraded to 18.2 kilometers, I believe, just off of the conversion. Right. That's around 11.3 miles below the surface. So this is still deep, but it is enough and strong enough. And 8.7 is an incredibly strong quake. We don't see these very often. These are very rare quakes. That's where the concern is coming from. Even if it is deep, we are seeing the threat for a tsunami. I'm going to toss it back over to you, Mark.
Yeah, so right now the city's Emergency Operations Center is activated, and we're expecting to hear more announcements from government officials, government leaders. Hawaii residents, those across the state right now, are urged to prepare. Take caution right now. Tsunami warning is in effect. This comes at a time where there's been a lot of seismic activity, an increase of seismic activity in the northern Pacific. A 6.4 quake struck in the same area of Russia last Saturday night. That turned into a tsunami watch, and it was later declared canceled about an hour and a half later. But right now, a tsunami warning is in effect. The last update, the first wave would arrive at 7:17 tonight, and as Drew just mentioned, that would coincide with high tide for parts of Oahu's North Shore.
Specifically high tide for Honolulu. I believe it will be coming down for high tide in Haleiwa. I can read off those numbers again, but high tide will allow some of these waves to be larger compared to if we were seeing low tide, allowing for more inundation to happen.
So we're all digesting this information in real time right now. As details come into our newsroom, we're getting updates. We're staying on top of the updates from the National Weather Service, the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center right now. We should mention the last time a tsunami hit Hawaii was back in 2011, following a 9.0 quake off the northern coast of Japan. The first wave arrived in the state about 8 hours later, with the brunt of the damage impacting the Big Island. So that was back in 2011. Right now, this is after an 8.7 magnitude quake off the far eastern coast of Russia, a region known as Kamchatka. A tsunami warning is also issued for parts of the western Aleutian Islands off the coast of Alaska. A watch is issued for parts of the eastern Aleutian Islands, and a warning is also in effect for Japan. We are all keeping a very close eye on our video feeds, on our news feeds right now. We're trying to see the developments here stemming from this initial quake. Very powerful, 8.7. Drew Davis, is there anything, and what is the expectation on kind of, since we're now in the warning phase and the warning stage of this, Drew, is there any expectation on kind of when we'll be receiving updates, and what is the kind of the timeline of updates we'll be receiving from weather officials?
So the USGS and the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, especially in events like this, do a really good job of updating these roughly around every 15 to 20 minutes or so. Again, we just got the warning. That just came in, breaking news. Again, we are going to be seeing new information. We have teams going out to the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center that was just activated. I do want to say that I'm going to update this graphic to kind of show you the reevaluation. We originally had a 8.0 magnitude earthquake. This has been upgraded to an 8.7. Let's just say an equivalent amount of energy. That's 370 billion with a B, pounds of TNT detonating below the surface. Even though that's kind of an incomprehensible number, that is the kind of energy that we are seeing with this earthquake. This is the Richter scale. That's why I was saying that these are rare earthquakes. So you don't see these very often. A depth of 19.3 kilometers. So very strong movement. Of course, that's why we have the warning. Another look at the warnings. We have a warning up for the entirety of the state, entirety of the island chain. Here's a look at the areas that could be impacted. This just means it's time now to prepare. Head Mauka. If you're in an office building, a condo, head up floors. Get away from sea level. You can check to see if you are in a tsunami warning zone by going to tsunami.gov or searching up Know Your Zone Tsunami Hawaii. You'll be able to find a map. Of course, you probably already know that information, but just to be prepared, might be a good idea to check. Again, tsunami warning for the entirety of the island chain. Mark, let's take a look. I mentioned that these are very rare earthquakes. I'm going to pull up an old graphic that we have that shows kind of the
Provide some context.
Provide some context for how rare these systems are. So again, let's take a look at the information. So again, we are at an 8.7. We are seeing that this is severe damage and loss of life. About one of these happens per year. Again, 8.7, nearly a 9. Again, the areas that are just close to that earthquake, that is nearly a 9. This happens nearly a 1 every 10 years, a magnitude 9 earthquake. We're nearly to that level. This is a very strong earthquake. Again, I was saying the energy equivalent, 370 billion pounds of TNT detonating below the surface. That's how strong the system is, and it's an incomprehensible number. It's just, it's so much energy, so much movement in the underground. That's causing the tsunami threat. And again, we see these about one every year. We see an 8. Just last week, or a few weekends ago, we had a 7.5 magnitude earthquake happen in that same area that was near Kamchatka, Russia. Just near the same area. This was a 7.5, and it's about 18 per year. That has been blown out of the water, a much stronger earthquake. So just showing you again that this is kind of taking a deeper look at the magnitudes. So just providing a little bit more context, Mark. I hope that can kind of talk about the situation that we're tracking right now.
Oh, of course, absolutely, and thank you for that. And what we've been seeing over the last several weeks, I mean, you just mentioned the quake that we saw last week in the same region. We've also been keeping a close eye on powerful earthquakes that have been in parts of Japan, so that northern Pacific area. So right now, tsunami warning after that 8.7 quake in Russia. Have your preparation plan, have your disaster plan ready to go. If you're in low-lying areas, head Malka, look for cover. You know, weather officials are expecting that the first wave would arrive at 7:17 tonight, but now is the time to get ready, to take action. Information is coming into our newsroom. We also have questions from viewers. Drew, one of our viewers is asking that they're in Waikiki right now. Should they be evacuating right now?
I would say that if you're in Waikiki, that is an area that is definitely susceptible to this. Again, I want to read out what the Tsunami Warning Center sent out. Again, this is the warning bulletin. This is what exactly was sent to me. Let me pull it up so we can make sure the data is coming in correctly. So we are under a tsunami warning, and again, the question is, if we're in Waikiki, should we evacuate? We're still getting more information from the Tsunami Warning Center. We're waiting for the next bulletin, waiting for their next alert. So even if you're in Waikiki, of course, low-lying area, of course, we are seeing that this is near the ocean, of course, is in a tsunami zone. If you're near that area, you need to be thinking about your plan, whether you're in a tall building, head up stories, head upstairs. If you're not in a tall building and you're in a building that's right at the sea level, you need to be starting to think about heading Malka. Again, this is at 7:17 p.m. Again, the time right now, 3:05, so you still have some time. That's why we're here now. That's why we're here live giving you the latest information. But you need to start thinking about, have your plan, find your family, let them know, make sure everybody that you know is aware of this, because again, this is a strong, strong earthquake. 8.7 nearly happens 1 every 10 years. You need to be starting to think about making your next move.
Yeah, have your plan ready to go. You mentioned, Drew, we're live with the information. We'll be staying with you live as details and the updates come into our newsroom. A very active situation right now with the tsunami warning in effect. The city EOC, the Emergency Operations Center, is activated as city leaders. Safety officials converge on monitoring this and mapping out disaster plans. State workers have been told to go home as parts of the state and residents take action with this. Very powerful. Our first alert weather team is staying on top of this very much so. Our Ben Gutierrez, he tells us it's an important piece of information that should be known, that tsunami waves are different from surf surf waves. The energy will affect all shores, and it could be worse on shores away from the energy as the tsunami converges from both sides. So this is following an 8.7 quake. The last update we have is that the first wave would arrive at 7:17 tonight. Drew Davis, you're tracking this. What can you tell us now? There's something new coming.
We just got new information that the warning sirens will go off at 4:10 p.m. So, and just a little over an hour, 5:10 p.m. and 6:10 p.m. Again, we are getting questions about the evacuation process. We're still getting more information from the Tsunami Warning Center. Again, warning sirens will go off at 4:10, 5:10, and 6:10 p.m. Again, the latest estimate from the Tsunami Warning Center and the USGS is that we could potentially see the earthquake or the tsunami arrive at 7:17 p.m. So we have several hours. You have time to get ready, but you need to be making your preparations now. Again, here's another look at the magnitudes. An 8.7, nearly one per year when it comes to an 8, one about every 10 years when it comes to a magnitude 10. I believe we have Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Robbins in-house with us. Well, she's still getting ready. Let's send it over to Mark.
Thank you very much, Drew. Yes, tsunami warning is in effect right now. This information is coming in. If you are just joining us, we are told that the warning sirens will sound across the state at 4:10, 5:10, and 6:10 p.m. tonight in anticipation of the first wave, which is expected about a quarter after 7 at 7:17. You know, if you are in a low-lying area, a disaster inundation zone, now is the time to have your plan ready. Now is the time to go look for cover right now as we are expecting this. We are keeping a very close eye on this. We are staying with you as we go through this tsunami warning right now. One of the things that we see in these events is that you have several hours of lead time. You know, with the wave coming in at 7:17, there is time now to get ready. Now is that time. So the first initial update of a tsunami watch came in around 1:30 this afternoon. The initial report was that it was an 8.0 quake off the coast of Russia. About 20 minutes later, that was boosted up to an 8.7. Very significant in terms of magnitude, in terms of quake strength, in terms of power and depth. And then the watch officially became a warning about 2:45 Hawaii time. Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Robbins is in place right now. As I said, our team is keeping tabs on everything that is coming in, all the information, all the updates, everything that you need to know. Jen, what can you tell us? Is there any new info that is coming in?
I know, Mark. Especially when your phone is going off and you're hearing those alerts on the TV screen and on your phone. But the good news behind all of this has quite a bit of time to travel, and even at this magnitude in depth, we're not expecting monstrous tsunami waves. We're talking about minimal tsunami waves, but that doesn't mean that you can't be prepared. This is a deeper look at tsunamis. If we could take a closer look at the energy, if we could take this full screen, please, for the producers out there, you could actually see the wave energy that we're going to be tracking. Looks like the closer look at tsunami energy. It is pretty magnificent how far this can travel. So the earth plates rub together, causing an underwater earthquake along the fault line. The earthquake causes a vertical push of seawater, and as the wave spreads into shallow waters, it grows in height. So places of concern for big tsunami waves in this scenario will be places like Japan, even Guam. So it is going to be traveling about 6 hours to get here, and we'll see minimum wave impacts. History has showed that once we've seen these kind of impacts, we have been seeing some disruptive waves patterns that have come through. But when it comes to probably those big tsunami waves, that's going to be left over the far Pacific there. But it can cause huge surge of energy to travel across the ocean. The first wave, like we're talking about, at 7:17, and history history has shown, preliminary reports, Hilo did see a rise of 0.3 meters at this magnitude. So that's a foot in sea level rise there. So that is significant. And other harbors have seen anywhere from 0.1 to 0.2 meters. So pretty significant still. And historically, we've seen in 1959 a magnitude of 8 from Russia, a lot like this one, generated about 0.1 to 0.2 meters. So that was about 4 to 8 inches. We're expected under about 0.3 meters for most shores. Hilo in the past did see a lot of boat damage with this caliber, and we have been seeing a lot of boat damage. Remember, in the Japan earthquake that we saw, that was a big concern in Hilo. Even though we didn't see the huge magnitude of tsunami wave energy, but even though it landed anywhere from 0.1 to 0.3 meters, we did see that disrupt a lot of the boats and the harbors. And also, I think with this scenario, the main danger remains strong local currents. So that's why you're not going to want to stay close to the ocean. That's why you should be moving towards Malka. And we're not going to be seeing widespread flooding or run up with probably 0.1 to 0.2. But with this magnitude, we could easily see that exceed 0.3. And that's enough energy that it is going to disrupt boats. So if you are someone who is living in a boat, or if you know anyone who is parked at those harbors in a boat, this is the time to prepare to move on and go inland. And that's something that we're probably need to stress of concern here. I know a lot of people 6 hours from now are wanting to watch at the beach what's going to happen, but this is not the time to watch. This is the time to move inland and Malka, because it's very unpredictable with the kind of energy that we're seeing that's traveling this far in the distance, all the way from Russia. We're talking about there's going to be unpredictable wave patterns for one, and also we're going to see really strong rip currents and local currents, and we are likely going to be seeing some significant wave heights, especially in open harbors that aren't obstructed by anything, like in Hilo, like we've seen in the past. So, Mark, a lot of elements that are coming together that we'll have to watch. But like I said, 1959 history has showed that it generated 0.1 to 0.2 meters, and that's about 4 to 8 inches. We could easily get about a foot if this comes our way. So something that we're watching very carefully with all of this energy. And like we were talking about with Drew Davis, coinciding with the high tide, which is a big concern for us as well. And the depth of this, about 12 meters or so, we are going to be seeing a lot of energy come through. And in the past, with these kinds of magnitude energy that's coming through with tsunami waves, we have been seeing anywhere from about 5 to 7 hour window for that first wave to come. And it looks like it's coming our way at about 7:17. And I think it's important to note that even after 7:17, that's when some of that energy catches up, and that's when the strongest surges will be. So it's going to be well beyond that 7:17 mark.
Thank you very much, Jen. Such critical information. The overarching message is to have your plan ready, have your plan of action ready to go. Now, Jen, if you could just hold on there, as you know, we're kind of just looking to map this out and kind of see what we can expect to unfold over the course of the next several hours or so. So it's not just us that's in this tsunami warning. Warnings have also been issued for Japan, the Western Aleutian Islands near Alaska. You know, what can that tell us? Because warnings have been put in place for those spots over there, what can that tell us about a potential direction of this wave and the impact here in the islands?
So it actually will reach Alaska pretty quickly because of the orientation of the earthquake itself. And we're talking about maybe anywhere from 2 to 3 hours from now. And that will reach Alaska, the Aleutian Islands. As far as the rest of the Pacific, because we're in the middle of the Pacific, it's going to take its time. We're talking 6 to 7 hours for us. For Guam, a little bit sooner than that. And Guam, as you know, is very vulnerable at this state. And we're talking about them seeing impacts too. We're talking about British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, California, potentially could see some impacts anywhere from 4 to 7 hours. Japan, a closer impact at 3 hours. And Alaska and Aleutian Islands, like I was talking about, 1 to 3 hours. So it is going going to gradually see all of that ripple effect that comes our way, starting with the Aleutian Islands and Japan.
We have new information coming out about safety advisories across the state right now. Once again, the City Emergency Operations Center is fully activated. We have a crew en route there right now as city and first responders and emergency officials gather to map out what we're going to be anticipating, the action we're going to be anticipating over the next several hours. The state employees are advised to go home. You can imagine right now that many workers and businesses in low-lying areas have been told to evacuate, have been told to go home. The Department of Parks and Recreation is advising members of the public to evacuate county campgrounds and beach parks. If you haven't done so already, now is the time to head up Mauka, head for cover as Hawaii responds to this tsunami warning. The warning came down on air. You could hear it in our newsroom. You got it on your phones, you got it on your mobile devices, you got it on your watches. The warning came down about 2:45 Hawaii time. First wave is expected to arrive around 7:15 tonight, all stemming from an 8.7 magnitude quake off the far eastern coast of Russia. So once again, have your plan ready to go. Have your supplies ready to go. We're in the process right now of gathering video, bringing you scenes from different areas across the state right now, just to show you as Hawaii is looking forward, is looking to see what's going to be unfolding over the next several hours. So once again, the latest update from city officials, city leaders is to the Department of Parks and Rec advising members of the public to evacuate county campgrounds, parks. That was issued by Kauai County officials. Same message applies for the rest of the state right now as the entire island chain is under a tsunami warning. Our first alert weather team is keeping very close track of the conditions, monitoring the updates in real time. This all started around 1:30 Hawaii time. Following that powerful and deep quake off of Russia. It was initially a tsunami watch, as is the protocol for these types of situations. Starts off as a watch. Our emergency and weather officials keeping a close eye on what has been unfolding. It was upgraded to a warning. You got the alerts 2:45 Hawaii time. So the warning is in effect. As we have said, it is not just Hawaii. Warnings are also in effect for parts of Alaska, parts of Japan, parts of the West Coast on the continental U.S. So we have crews heading out, bringing you the latest information. We are keeping track of the latest information and the updates as they are coming into our newsroom. City EOC has been activated. If you are in a low-lying area, find your evacuation zone. Governor Josh Green has sent state employees home early. We are also in the process, in addition to sending crews out to the City Emergency Operations Center, parts of Oahu. We're working on bringing you images right now. This is a live look at Waikiki right now. You see lots of people in the water. The warning has been in effect. It is in effect right now. There needs to be a high degree of concern as we're seeing this. So this is a live look at Waikiki at the moment. State officials tell us that sirens will sound 3 times this afternoon, late afternoon, and into the evening. 4:10 p.m., 5:10 p.m., 6:10 p.m. Warning sirens underscoring the message. Those need to be cautious. Now is not the time. We're giving you the live look at Waikiki right now. Now is not the time to be anywhere close near the water. Let's also give you a look from our tower cam right now, overlooking throughout Honolulu, out to the airport reef runway. Conditions appear calm right now, but this is what happens in these types of situations. You have the initial warnings come down, the initial alerts after the quake, and then you have several hours of lead time. You see right there the earliest estimated arrival of a tsunami wave would be at 7:17 tonight. As we give you a look at Honolulu Harbor, this is something that has impact in any number of areas. Information is coming into our newsroom, keeping such close watch on this. We have our first alert weather team monitoring the updates as they are pouring in. So kind of breaking down the process of how this has unfolded. So you had the initial quake alert come in. It was an 8.0 magnitude quake off the coast, east coast of Russia, upgraded to an 8.7, not insignificant. About 20 minutes later, so that was at 1:45. Warnings were then issued for parts of Alaska, parts of Japan, and then the subsequent warning for Hawaii at 2:45. We have several live crews out in the field right now. We have a crew heading over to the City Emergency Operations Center. This is our live shot from our crew out in Waikiki. Not a sight you want to see. People in the water in a low-lying area off the coast right now. So now is not the time to be heading out to the beach or low-lying areas. So once again, this is something that requires a serious response. You want to be over-prepared. You want to have your plan ready to go. You need to have your supplies in stock here. You know, just looking up some research here, the last time Hawaii was impacted was back in 2011, following a 9.0 magnitude quake off the northern coast of Japan. The impact came to Hawaii about 8 hours later. As you may recall, the Big Island took the brunt of the damage in that situation. As we give you a live look from our Hilo Cam, we are covering this event right now from all angles, trying to map out this response as Hawaii reacts to this tsunami warning, which is currently in effect. We have teams deployed throughout the state right now trying to monitor this response. As we give you a look from our Hilo Bay Cam, you may be hearing another alert coming in. So apologies for any audio disruption right now. You may be hearing another alert coming in. This is from emergency officials warning of the incoming tsunami warning following an 8.7 quake. First wave is expected to arrive at 7:17 tonight. We're tracking this. We have live cams out in Waikiki, and this is our Hilo Cam right now. We have a crew out at the Emergency Operations Center.
Tsunami threat to Hawaii. Due to the tsunami warning and wave arrival time of 7:10 p.m. HST, of Hanalei, we are sounding the sirens to alert the public of possible flooding inundation zones. Repeat, there is a tsunami threat to Hawaii. Due to the tsunami warning and wave arrival time of 7:10 p.m. HST,
resolved.
We are sounding the sirens to alert the public of possible flooding inundation zones.
The last emergency alert that we see from safety officials says the following, and we're going to be reading this out loud, that due to the tsunami warning and wave arrival time of 7:10 p.m. This is for Kauai residents. 7:10 p.m. of Hanalei, sounding the sirens to alert the public of possible flooding inundation zones. This is a statewide event at the moment. The sirens and alerts will be provided throughout. First siren's expected to go off at 4:10, second siren at 5:10, and the next one at 6:10. I can imagine we've already gotten multiple alerts. You'll continue to receive alerts on your phone, on your watch, mobile devices. That's one of the things that, you know, as disaster response, has developed over the last several years. There are more ways to get information out to the public, keep the people informed as we are tracking this tsunami warning, as we give you a live look right now from our camera in Waikiki. Lots of people at the beach, not what you want to see at the moment in a situation like this. Let's bring it back to our Hawaii News Now studio right now. Meteorologist Ben Gutierrez is joining me at the moment. As you know, this is unfolding, as we speak. Bringing in video from different sources, we're bringing in details from different sources. What sort of new information do we have over the last several minutes as we track this?
Well, right now, we've had a lot of basic questions from people because it's been a while since we've had something of this magnitude, no pun intended. By the way, I'm not a meteorologist. Just a little correction, weather anchor. But one thing that we were getting a lot of basic questions from viewers. One of them is, if I'm in Waikiki, what should I be doing now? Do I need to leave the hotel? Do I need to drive out of Waikiki? If you are in a high-rise, if you go, you will be safe on the 4th floor or above. This is what is called a vertical evacuation. So there's no need to evacuate the hotel. If you're in a good, solid high-rise, go up to the 4th floor or higher, and you will be safe. If this also is for really any of the high-rise areas, for example, Kailua Kona. Also, we're talking about Ka'anapali, even Kalapaki Beach, and so there's just a lot of places where you can go without having to leave the area.
Okay, so our Lynn Kawano, we have teams out in the field right now. Our Lynn Kawano is standing by live at the Emergency Operations Center with Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi. Lynn.
Yeah, Mark, all city and county employees have been released. You can see that they are walking out right now. All state employees have also been released for the day. Now, what I'm told is the streets are packed. The parking garages are packed as people are trying to get home, trying to get to their families, get to safety ahead of all of this. We were told that the sirens were not going to go off until 4:10, but they did go off a couple of minutes ago. So about 3:24, they did go off here in downtown Honolulu. And joining me now is Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi. He just happened to be walking by to the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center. We stopped him to get a quick update. Mayor, the sirens went off earlier than what we thought. Tell me.
And I don't know why. I suspect there was a good reason. I was on my way to the operating center to find out exactly why. We were anticipating they would go off at 4:10. It was at 2:43 today when we got the official tsunami warning. This is an 8.7 earthquake off of Russia. You and I have been in the business a long time, through a lot of different things. I don't remember an earthquake of this caliber. So clearly, this is serious. And so we're evacuating all of our employees. Right now, the schedule is to have the sirens go off at 4:10, 5:10, 6:10. We're anticipating, if there's going to be a hit, it is at 7:17 tonight. Then that's as much as I know right now. Anxious to get downstairs, but I want to go back to everything that we've said to people over the years. Get home, get safe as much as you can.
Yeah, and we want people to get to higher ground as well. That's kind of the issue. They have time right now, 3 hours to try to get over there. You've released everybody. Is that the idea then, to try to get people the time they need?
Anybody who's in a flood inundation zone, they were asking people to evacuate their properties to get to higher ground as much as possible, and that pretty much goes for anywhere. If you're already on higher ground, then you stay there. But it's always a rush for the hills, and we'll see. Don't want to sound panicked, but this is happening very fast, and so we need the community and the public to work with that and be responsive, and hopefully everybody stays safe on the road. Drive with aloha, let people get, just get there. Let's just hope for the best here right now, but we're going to go in there and prepare for the worst.
Okay, real quick, before you go in there, who is in there and what is the plan for right now, 4 hours ahead of this?
It'll be all of our emergency operating personnel. They come from all the different divisions, first responders, police. We'll certainly have our media team in there and everybody else. We're in full alert with civil defense. It's a whole cadre of people that come down there. This is our first time now since we've been mayor to have this, but in the dry runs that we've gone through, it's quite a few people. So we'll try to communicate with the public as best we possibly can. Watch television as long as you have power. Listen to anything and everything you can get your hands on, but pay attention. And this is serious, or we wouldn't be doing this.
Okay, thank you very much, Mayor Rick Blangiardi, heading into the Emergency Operations Center right now here in the basement of the Fosse Center. All employees in the city and county of Honolulu, except essential or first responders, have been released now, and they are heading home, as well as state workers. But I will tell you, the streets are pretty packed right now. Again, the sirens are supposed to go off 4:10, 5:10, 6:10. We were originally told that, but at 3:24, they started going off here in downtown Honolulu. That certainly got people a little bit more alerted. We did also run into Jim Ireland, Director of Emergency Services Department, earlier today, and here's what he had to tell us about moving his personnel around ahead of all of this.
Activate generators, bring in personnel. We also move ambulances that are in coastal areas, and they relocate to other areas that are not in the inundation zone. We have staffing for our ambulance bus and other larger vehicles in the event that we need to use those for medical evacuation, whether it's from hospitals or clinics or people who otherwise can't get out on their own. This is evolving.
All right, I believe, apologies for the technical errors right there. We are mapping this out as the situation unfolds. We were hearing from Jim Ireland, Director of the Emergency Services for the City and County of Honolulu. We heard Lynn in a live interview with Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi, and I think Mayor Blangiardi described this approach in an effective way. You know, this is not a situation to panic, but this is something that you want to take very seriously because it is moving very fast right now.
But one thing I want to say,
Hey, Matt.
2011.
Where's Ben?
expected to come to Hawaii at 7:17. So looking at my watch very quickly, you've got about, we'll just say 3 hours. You've got 3 hours to do what you need to do. What you need to be doing right now, if you are in a tsunami evacuation zone, you should be getting together a go bag, if you haven't done so already. You should have a plan to try and get to higher ground. You should know if you are in an evacuation zone. If you are, again, in a high-rise building close to the ocean, you do not need to leave the area. We have vertical evacuations, and this is basically you go to the 4th floor or higher. At last check, when we were looking at the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center site, we could see a lot of places are going to be seeing or could see a tsunami of 0.3, which is a foot, to 1 meter, which is 3 feet. So anywhere from about 1 to 3 feet is the prediction. And this is based on what the water column has had. We haven't had any word on what's happening in the Aleutian Islands, which was placed under the warning and which is the closest area to the Kamchatka site where the earthquake occurred. So, that being said, I think we've been waiting for some data to come from there and maybe some word as to whether an evacuations or a tsunami has actually showed up in that area. The other thing of note that I was looking at earlier this afternoon, there's a whole bunch of tsunami detection buoys around the Ring of Fire, which is where the tectonic plates meet and where earthquakes occur, all the way from the Philippines up through Japan, up to the Aleutians, down the west coast of the United States. And what happened, what basically it does is it will measure the water column. And so there was a jolt in the water column. It was only 6 inches, but remember, this is not a case where it's wind-generated waves like surf. This is completely different. It's an entire water column. The best way for me to explain it would be if you have a bathtub and you blow on the surface of the water, that's surf. If you take your hands under the water and you push up against the water, that's a tsunami. So very different behaviors.
Yeah, and very critical information. And those buoys right there provide a critical service for our forecasters about giving any sort of indication on measurements on the activity that we are keeping a close watch on and what we could expect. This is an event that you are covering from multiple perspectives. You have the scientific aspect of the quake itself and the tsunami warning, but you also have the response as you know, statewide, as Hawaii residents prepare and take cover. We heard from Lynn Kawano at the City Emergency Operations Center, but you're also seeing those leave low-lying areas as we're giving you our traffic cams. Let's try again with First Alert Traffic and Jonathan Masaki. Jonathan, what can you tell us?
You know, as the mayor was saying, everybody should stay calm because of what's going on right now. As we look at a very low-lying highway, this is Farrington Highway in the Nanakuli area. You see somewhat of the gridlock that's happening right now. You see a police car in the distance over there trying to keep, you know, things under control and keep traffic moving. No doubt people going in and out of the area right now. We're going to check in with the Army a little bit later to see if they will open Kolikoli Pass, because, you know, that is a route that they were suggesting. If something like this happens, they might use it to get, you know, traffic away from the low-lying areas. So we'll get back to you on that if that's happening as we speak. Let's bring you into town right now. This is the situation right here, H1 and Middle Street. You see the traffic is flowing again at a very slow to medium pace, so you can tell the traffic is starting to build. I'm going to move a little bit farther down right now, get to Fort Shafter and the Moana Lua overpass. You see right here where that gridlock is happening as we speak. Let's get to Nimitz Highway right now. Not looking too bad. It maybe want to take Nimitz to get out of the city, looking pretty good in the westbound direction. Coming into town a little bit slow and go right there. If we go up to the Like Highway, traffic really not existing in that area. Let's get also to the Pali Highway right now. A little bit more busy in that area. So again, the key areas, let's go back to Nanakuli right now. This is where we see the most traffic gridlock as we speak because Farrington Highway is in a very low-lying area. We'll get more details as to how traffic is being affected right now as far as what's going on with this tsunami warning. Ben and Mark, back over to you.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Yes, we're tracking this from a variety of perspectives at this moment as we're tracking this tsunami warning. We will be staying with you, providing critical information and updates throughout this entire event. It officially became a tsunami warning around 2:45 Hawaii time following an 8.7 magnitude quake off the far eastern coast of Russia. We currently have crews deployed across the city and across the state right now. Lynn Kawano is at the Emergency Operations Center as you see city leaders and emergency officials gathering right now to look at this and analyze the response and make preparations. We're seeing different shots from Waikiki. Jonathan was just showing you the shots on our leeward coast right now.
Yeah, with the leeward coast, one thing you need to keep in mind, once again, Farrington Highway is the only way in and out of that area. So it's going to get backed up. Here's what you should do instead. If you have a chance to, do not leave the Waianae coast. If you can, go further inland. I mean, there are places like Makaha Valley, there's Lulu'ule, some places like that where you can actually go inland and not cause a traffic backup because, again, yes, we have 3 hours, but one, do not panic. You have some time to take action here, and so don't go rushing away from the area. Think this out. If you got friends or relatives, and this is not just the Waianae Coast, but anywhere in the islands, if you have friends or relatives who are in higher ground, try and get a hold of them. Conversely, if you are in higher ground, you might want to prepare or get a hold of maybe friends or relatives who are in an evacuation zone, and you might have to at least take them in for now. At this point, we don't know exactly precisely how big the tsunami will be, but we're looking at anything from maybe 3, 6, maybe even 9 feet. And again, a tsunami acts differently from a surf wave. A surf wave will come in and pull back out. A tsunami, because there's so much energy and it's been traveling across the ocean at about 500 to 700 miles per hour, it's going to start hitting the shoreline, or at least, you know, the shallower areas, slow down, start pushing up, and then all that energy is not, again, just the top. It's going to be from top all the way to the bottom of the ocean, wherever that is, and that's going to continue pushing in and pushing in and pushing in. So it's not necessarily a case of, oh, the surf's going to come in and then it's going to draw back out. There is the potential that this will push in a rather large way, and so you just have to be aware of that.
Let's go back to our Waikiki right now as you see what looks to be DLNR crews heading out to the lagoon by the Hilton Hawaiian Village, urging those that are on the shoreline over there to please evacuate the area. Now is not the time to be sightseeing and being in that type of southern coastal area. The the sirens will be going off throughout the late afternoon into the evening. 4:10 p.m., 5:10 p.m., 6:10 p.m. First wave expected at 7:17. One of the silver linings with an event like this is that you do have lead time. So since this has become a tsunami warning at 2:45 Hawaii time, even though we were seeing traffic from our different cams, you have to say that this has been a pretty rapid response, from those across the state as we're looking at this.
The good thing is that people are reacting. People are taking this seriously for the most part. We see maybe some exceptions right now on our live cam from Waikiki, or maybe they are not aware because they might not be on our alert system here in Honolulu. And so once again, there is some time, but if they are in a lower lying area, if they're not in a high-rise building, they need to move away. I know it's a couple of hours out, but at least residents statewide have been taking this very seriously, taking quick action. But again, don't panic. You've got a couple of hours, but just go through that checklist of what you need to have, your go bag, your essentials, important papers, pets even, and know where you're going to go if you have to leave.
And this is all part of the emergency response right now. When state and city officials hold emergency briefings and emergency preparedness drills, this is all part of it. So you have state crews going on low-lying areas, urging people that are in attendance to please leave the area. Take this very seriously. A tsunami warning issued for the entire state of Hawaii right now. The specifics in terms of wave height, activity, still too early to tell. But Ben and Drew Davis, you two are keeping a close watch on what we're seeing, gathering as much useful information as possible. What can you tell us about the quake and the ensuing tsunami warning?
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about how much time we still have. Again, the earliest estimates, again, for Honolulu, 7:10 p.m. The rest of the state potentially 7:17 p.m. So we still have several hours. So the time now is to prepare. We're actually going to take a look at one of the tools that we use whenever we have a tsunami warning like this. You can see this is the entirety of the Pacific Ocean. You can see each one of these rings right here indicates about an hour for how long the tsunami takes to propagate across the ocean. And Ben, do you want to point out where we're seeing? This is right off the coast of Kamchatka, Russia. If we count this out, this is 1 hour from Kamchatka, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, and then 6 hours. Again, we saw the initial earthquake at 1:30 p.m., so that lines up pretty close to this prediction from, this is directly, I believe, from NOAA. It's a pretty old map, but it still holds up today. And some of the information that we have from previous earthquakes, especially in the same region, last week we had that tsunami watch from the same area, magnitude 7.5. That was a slip strike fault movement, which is atypical when it comes to these fault movements over near Russia. Thrust movements are very often which are able to generate those tsunamis. And Ben, I do want to point out that one of the previous earthquakes that we've seen from the same exact region, the same exact fault line, was in 1952. Just from some information that we have from NOAA on previous earthquakes, there were no deaths reported in Hawaii, but the waves caused houses to collide, beach boats, destroyed piers, scoured beaches, and moved road pavement. Maximum wave heights were 4 meters, 1 meters, 9 meters, and 3 meters on Hawaii, Maui, Oahu, and Kauai, respectively.
Yes, so if you're getting that into English conversions, 9 meters is basically 27 feet.
That's nearly a 30-foot wave of inundation.
We're looking at a 30-foot inundation. So once again, I know we're zoomed out a little bit, but just think of this red spot here. This is the bullseye. This is us. And this is where we have seen, in 2011, we had the tsunami from the Fukushima area. It came from here, right here. And so it did take a little while to get here. It got here like about 3 in the morning. Also, approximately 6-7 hours for it to get here. So it takes just a teeny bit longer for that to happen. But those of you who were here in 2011, remember that we did have a tsunami. We did have some damage in Ke'ehi Lagoon. We had a house swept away in Ke'ehi Kealakekua. We also had some damage along Ali'i Drive in Kailua Kona because the water was coming in over the wall onto Ali'i Drive into the storefronts that were over there, because once again, it's not a wave that will come in and then go back out. It's a wave that it's just basically a lot of energy. You're talking about a water column here, so it's basically the entire ocean from top to bottom, and so it's not just the surface. Like I was saying earlier, a surf wave, basically, just think of your bathtub, and if you fan or you blow on the surface of the water, that's surf. If you go into the bathtub and you take your hands like this and you push up against the water, that's a tsunami.
And that's the same type of movement that's caused by those thrust fault movements, and the entire tectonic plate is just pushing upwards and displacing all of that water, and that's why we're watching that threat. The entirety of the water column right off of Russia moving across the Pacific Ocean. We've got warnings up for Alaska, a warning up for Hawaii, and of course we're still getting more information from the Tsunami Warning Center on where we have watches and advisories as well.
Yeah, but the other thing to think about is the magnitude. We talk about magnitudes here. The Fukushima was, I think, a 9. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember there was one in Chile that caused a lot of damage. 1960, right from here, we had almost 12 hours. We had several hours for it to get here, but it still caused some damage. Also, 1946, right up here, this was the April Fool's Day tsunami. This is the one that happened on April 1st. Sirens went off. Hilo was devastated because there might have been some people who heard the sirens and thought it's April 1st. No, tragically, it did take some lives, caused quite a bit of damage, and but this is why you've got the soccer fields over in Hilo now. There used to be buildings there. After the 1960 earthquake, all that came down. So once again, we're looking at this area of Kamchatka. This is where it is, and then it's got to make its way here. And again, it's traveling at about 500 to 700 miles per hour. If you're out on the ocean, you probably ain't going to see it. In fact, there was like a 6-inch column rise in the Dart buoys a little bit earlier, and it was a very sharp rise. And so that tells me, just looking at it, not necessarily as someone who is from the USGS, that there was a water column change, that there was a tsunami generated, and that's in deep water. And so deep water, I don't know if it's in meters or in feet, but 5,000 was the number, 5,400. And that means you've got a whole column of water now that's traveling at about 700, as fast as 700 miles per hour over the Pacific, about as fast as a jetliner taking you from here to Los Angeles, for example. And then once that water column starts hitting shallower ground, it'll just start squishing together, so forth. It's going to both get higher and wider, and so all that energy has potential to cause some major damage on the shorelines. Mark?
Thank you very much, Ben. We are tracking the response right now to the tsunami warning currently in effect. Here is a live look at Waikiki. Just moments ago, we saw DLNR crews patrolling the area, telling people that are on the beach, on the sand, and now is the time to vacate the area. We have crews deployed statewide right now. Let's go to our producer, A'ali'i, who is in Waikiki and can describe the scene and kind of the action being taken by emergency officials right now. What can you tell us, A'ali'i?
Yeah, Mark, so you can see off into the distance, like you mentioned, like in our vehicle, there is an officer walking along shore right now. He is telling people to evacuate, but as you can see, people are somewhat lingering. Some, though, are listening to the orders, and they're making their way slowly to the parking lot so they can evacuate. But again, that officer's still trying to get people to get out of the water. There are still some still swimming, kind of ignoring that warning, maybe not seeing the officer on land. But I'm here near the Hilton Hotel, kind of near the Ala Moana Bowls area, and again, there are maybe about several dozen people here along the beach and in the water, kind of slowly evacuating here. Some still in the water. I'm still looking for that DLNR officer. He's making his way through the crowds, and people are heeding that order to get out of the beach and out of the water. So we'll continue to keep up over here at Ala Moana Bowls near the Hilton Hotel, and we'll keep you up to date with the very latest. But for now, back to you.
Ali, thank you very much. Yeah, this is all part of the response. one of the things with this is that you have lead time. This isn't a time to panic. This is a time to be ready, time to be prepared. So the earliest estimated wave arrival time is 7:17. That is about 3.5 hours from now. We were seeing earlier that there is traffic throughout the city. The EOC has been activated. Governor Josh Green has told state employees, has instructed them to head home with the warning in effect. We are hearing from the U.S. Army garrison that the military is prepared to potentially open Kole Kole Pass for Leeward Coast residents if need be. But at this time, it is our understanding that neither the state nor the city has asked for that to happen. But military officials stand at the ready to potentially open up Kole Kole Pass if that is warranted in this situation.
Yeah, they just did some work up on Kole Kole Pass as well. It was getting a little bit deteriorated, but I know that military officials, the Army, and government officials have been working together to try and prepare it for a night like tonight, or you know, for times like these. And so we will let you know if that is indeed opened up for evacuations. But once again, it is 3:51. We're about 3.5 hours, a little less than that, away from the first waves approximately hitting or reaching Oahu, shall we say, a little bit earlier for Kauai, right around 7:10.
And this is a live look at Waikiki right now. You still have people in the water, which is not what you want to be seeing. But DLNR is going up and down the beach, telling people to vacate the area. This is the shot at Waikiki. You can imagine that this is also happening at different parts of the coastline across the state, around Oahu as well. DLNR crews deploying, warning people to please leave the area with this warning in effect. We are getting updates and alerts into our newsroom. This is from the Associated Press. A tsunami has hit coastal areas of Russia's Kuril Islands and Japan's large northern island of Hokkaido. So with this quake happening at 1:30 Hawaii time, Alaska and Japan were the regions first named in the tsunami warning, and we are starting to see the impacts of that now. AP just reporting a tsunami has hit the coastal areas of Russia's Kuril Islands and Japan's large northern island of Hokkaido. So it speaks to the severity, the seriousness of something like this.
Now, it doesn't say how large the tsunami was, but it is significant that one has been seen, that one has reached the Kuril Islands and also for Hokkaido. And so we may get video from that a little bit later. We will await that, but at this time, we don't know how big the tsunami was, but apparently something has hit.
When a tsunami does make landfall, does that do anything to dissipate what potential effects could be for other areas that are under warnings?
No. Because what happens is that you've got this large, basically it's like an underwater wall of water. So basically what you're looking at is all this energy. It's going to sweep past each island. And here's one thing that could happen where that energy will continue on, and then it will, you know, it's like when you have, I don't know if you've seen the Tour de France, but they've got like the roundabouts, and the bicyclists go around it, and then they converge on the other side. That energy is going to converge on the other side. That wave energy will. And so some people have been asking, won't, like, say, Paliva, the North Shore, be the ones impacted the most? No, because it will basically affect all sides of the island, because that energy will also wrap around, converge again on the other side, and keep going. You might get some areas where it's a little bit blocked, because like Molokai into Lahaina, West Maui, you might get some of that. Or, depending on the direction, and I haven't had a chance to really look at the maps, it could amplify that energy. And so the best thing to do is not try to estimate or guesstimate, really, which is something that I'm kind of doing right now. But basically, I'm telling you that what you should do is, if you're in an evacuation zone, prepare to leave.
Precisely. And this just shows that we're seeing updates, and we're seeing the effects of this tsunami already in parts of the world. So a tsunami has hit the coastal areas of Russia's Kuril Islands and the island of Hokkaido in Japan. Still gathering details on wave heights, damage. That is just the initial report right now. Back here in Honolulu, we're also under the warning right now. So the estimated arrival time is 7:17 tonight. You still have people in the water at Waikiki. I got to say, though, weather officials, emergency officials have been on top of this, providing updates, when possible, when available, as Hawaii responds to this event. Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Robbins is tracking the forecast and what we can see here. Jen, what can you tell us?
And we have been getting many alerts on the phone, and I know it could be alarming once you hear all of the noises coming from the phone, from the TV, but like we want to stress, just stay calm and be prepared and just move inland. As we take a closer look at tsunami energy, let's take a closer look at what we're expecting. Along the fault line, you can see all the action, the earth plates rub together, causing an underwater earthquake, and that's exactly what we see off the coast of Russia. The earthquake causes a vertical push of seawater to rise, and then as the wave spreads into shallower waters, it then grows in height. And history has showed that we have been seeing tsunami activity in past years, like Ben was talking about, a number of them. The first wave expected to arrive at 7:17, a little bit sooner over on Kauai, about 7:10 in Honolulu. Hilo in the past has seen about 0.3 meters. That's about a foot in rise, and also other harbors anywhere from 0.1 to 0.2 of a magnitude 8 earthquake. And magnitude between 8 and 9 in 1959, magnitude 8 from Russia generated anywhere from that 0.1 to 0.2, so that's about 4 to 8 inches. Some areas though, like Hilo, saw lots of damage, and in the past boat damage and also even houses. That houses were actually taken off of its foundation with this caliber. So if you're right at the coastline and you're not on stable grounds, that's a big concern. So you will want to move inland, of course, move Melka. And we're expected to see, in many cases, that the initial energy will come in anywhere from 0.1 to 0.3 meters. So anywhere from that 5 to 8 inches mark at 7 o'clock. But then it could jump up as the hour progresses to 8 o'clock to 1 to 2 meters, according to some of the preliminary data that we're seeing. But this is all just preliminary, so we should be prepared for the worst situation here. And it's very unpredictable how strong the currents could be. In the past, we've seen this, that we haven't seen a lot of run-up and also maybe flooding at the coast, but we saw a lot of currents and also those strong currents that were a big concern. So starting at 7:10 tonight, Honolulu this evening, we will be seeing that. And like we were talking about, it started off as a watch, and we saw that tsunami watch, which was issued earlier today, a little after 1:30, just to give us notice to prepare to take action. But then it was upgraded quickly to a warning, and with all of that coming together, significant widespread inundation is imminent or expected now. This is where we fall under dangerous coastal flooding and currents, a possibility, especially if it comes in at 1 to 2 meters, which is a big concern for us, and especially if you're along the coastlines. If you're living in a boat or parked at harbors, this is the time to prepare and to move inland. Urgent action to protect life and property, including those evacuations. So just take your time. We do have some time until the 7 o'clock hour. Gather some of those belongings and then maybe contact some friends that you could stay with that is inland. We are going to be watching the times. Like Ben was talking about, in deep ocean, tsunami waves reach speeds about 500 plus miles per hour. And that's a typo there. That's more like a jet liner. And then in shallow waters, it's about 30 miles per hour. So once it gets closer, it does slow down, but it piles up. So in the early evening hours in Alaska, we're talking about 4:46 to 5:46 Alaska time. That's when they're seeing arrival. And then along the west coast here, we're seeing that anywhere from 11:35 to midnight, and that's Pacific time there. And then we're already seeing that energy already in places like Japan. Back here at home, it's after 7 o'clock this evening. So talk with the family, talk about a plan, and don't rush right now. Just calmly get all your belongings together, especially if you're at those harbors or right at the beach. Mark?
Thank you very much, Jen. Very critical, very important information. We are approaching the top of the 4 o'clock hour right now. If you're just joining us, tsunami warning is in effect for the entire state of Hawaii following an 8.7 magnitude quake, which struck off the far eastern coast of Russia about 1:30 Hawaii time this afternoon. And a full-blown response is in effect right now at the city, state, and military levels here in Hawaii. The City Emergency Operations Center has been activated. We've already seen DLNR patrolling areas, low-lying coastal areas. We saw the shots at Waikiki Beach, urging beachgoers to leave the area. First wave is expected at 7:17. We're already seeing reports of a tsunami hitting parts of Russia and Japan. If we do see effects here, that would be the first time Hawaii has seen a tsunami since 2011 following an earthquake off Japan. A big tsunami.
Yeah, because we have had some tsunamis before. There was one off Chile a little bit later, a little after 2011. This one wasn't big, but it did cause some currents. But it technically is still a tsunami.
Stephanie Lum covered the 2011 tsunami and the effects here in Hawaii, and she has more. What can you tell us, Steph?
Yeah, Mark and Ben, I've been listening to the coverage, and like you folks have been saying, now is not the time to panic, but it is the time to be prepared and to heed the warnings and do what is necessary to get out safely with you and your family. After all, as you mentioned, Hawaii was under a tsunami warning back in 2011 after that major earthquake in Japan, and the waves that were generated and were sent over to Hawaii from that earthquake in 2011 ended up causing tens of millions of dollars in damage.
Hawaii was under a tsunami warning back in March 11th, 2011. A magnitude 9.1 earthquake hit Tohoku, Japan. Waves disabled nuclear reactors, washed over and destroyed entire towns. More than 18,000 people died. The deadly earthquake was the largest magnitude ever recorded in Japan and the third largest in the world since 1900. The waves, over 200 of them from that tsunami, caused damage here in Hawaii. $7.5 million worth of damage across the state. Those waves of varying heights reached our shores early at 3 in the morning. Many businesses and roads were flooded and washed out. Haleiwa Harbor saw damage to the dock and boats that were not able to sail out in time. It was the same scene at La Mariana Harbor near Sand Island. Big Island's Kona coast sustained substantial damage, where the Kona Village Resort is located, as well as low-lying areas on Maui.
And in the end, of course, tens of millions of dollars in damage after that major earthquake and tsunami from Japan back in 2011. And officials are hoping that everybody once again heeds the warning. There were no casualties in Hawaii after that. And so they are saying, please listen to the lifeguards when they tell you to clear the beaches. Don't be anywhere near the coastlines. And the Department of Transportation actually just sent out a tweet over on Kauai with those waves estimated to arrive at around 7:10. They are asking everybody to please not drive into Hanalei to try and help the evacuees. You'll only end up clogging those crucial roadways for emergency responders, and you might even end up preventing people from leaving and moving inland. Mark and Ben, back to you.
Thank you very much, Steph. Excellent coverage. Yeah, this is a very complex situation. And what we saw from Stephanie's story is what you were alluding to, is that the nature of a tsunami type wave and the fact that, you know, if some may see that it's coming from the northern Pacific, some of you saying, okay, well, if I'm on the South Shore, it's not going to affect. But what we saw in that 2011 event was the island wrap and an effect statewide.
Yeah, two things to remember from this. Remember Ke'ehi Lagoon, La Mariana Harbor, I covered that. Several boats were damaged. This came in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning. And so that energy, even though it's on the South Shore, still reached basically still reach the South Shore from Japan, which is basically on the opposite side of the island. And so you've got that energy moving through. Second thing to remember, that particular earthquake, the Japan earthquake of 2011, was huge, was massive, was extremely strong. Basically, a quick note about magnitudes. The one that we're looking at is an 8.7. The one that in 2011 was 9.1. They're almost the same. Maybe about, I would say, well, I'll put it this way. Every time you go up a number, it's not just incremental, it's exponential. And so basically the amount of energy in an 8 is 30 times the energy of 7. 7 is 30 times the energy of a 6, and so on and so forth. So when you're talking about a magnitude 8 and a magnitude 9, 8 is strong. Last week we had the 7.2, or a couple of days ago, from Kamchatka, Russia. And so this is something that's 30, maybe 45 times stronger than the one that we saw last week. And so this is definitely something that bears watching. We've also seen some buoy data reports where we've seen anywhere from a foot to maybe 3 feet out in the open ocean. And so there is something going on out there that bears watching. There's no buoys out in the middle of the ocean. They're just along the shorelines. And so we just know something was generated. We've got estimates, possibly 1 to 3 meters. That's 3 to 9 feet. But again, that's preliminary. But again, don't panic. You've got time. Just calmly go through what you need to do and where you need to go. If you are not in an evacuation zone, stay where you are. You're going to be safe. You will be fine. Do not head to the ocean. Do not try to help. Do not get in the way of emergency responders or people who are trying to leave. Do not be a looky-loo. Do not be, don't go and just say, oh, I'm going to get a great Instagram post of this tsunami. No, don't do that. I mean, there are, there's a possibility of damage. There's that potential. And so what you need to do is not get in the way of people who are trying to leave or trying to actually, our first responders who are trying to help people who are trying to leave.
And throughout that entire time, we should reinforce Hawaii News Now will stay with you the entire time. We have wall-to-wall coverage, comprehensive team coverage with our first alert weather team, keeping track of the latest updates. We're also mapping out the response as residents map out their evacuation and disaster plans. Earlier, we heard from Lynn Kawano at the City Emergency Operations Center. We have our very own Dylan Ancheta standing by on Maui, giving a look at what is happening on the Valley Isle. Take it away, Dylan.
Hey, aloha. First off, I apologize if my audio cuts in and out. We are on a very remote setup here, but I can tell you that I am in the Kahului area right outside of the University of Hawaii, Maui College. In fact, the Queen Ka'ahumanu Center is just behind me. And right now, coming into this area, this is a tsunami evacuation zone. There is still a long line of cars all the way in, and this traffic is not moving very fast. So I have heard sirens. The first sirens that I heard was actually around 3:20 this afternoon, and we know that that siren was cued. We know that that siren was cued for the coastal areas, the people in those areas that really should heed the warnings and evacuate now. But again, people are still going into this low-lying area, which is concerning because we would like people to evacuate out from this area. And just this way, I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera around. There is an emergency siren right behind these telephone poles, and so we are expecting to hear them go off in about 2 or 3 minutes because, again, as we know, the emergency officials are sounding the sirens at 4:10, 5:10, and 6:10 to allow people to get the notification that they should be evacuating these areas. So this is the traffic going out of this area, but you can still see the long line of cars all the way through. People are still making their way into this Kahului area. At this point, we are still trying to get in touch with the Maui County officials. I just got here to this area not too long ago. ago. So we are going to continue to gather more details as to where the evacuation points for Maui residents are, and we will bring that to you on air and online. But for now, that is pretty much all I have, guys. We'll send things back to you.
Of course, we still have a lot of other things going on. We did get some pictures from Ko'olina. There were a lot of people who were leaving Ko'olina out on the leeward coast. I will assume that those are folks who are either in the low-lying townhouses or folks who were at the beach. But if you were in some of the taller buildings, Aulani and so on, those buildings, you are safe to stay there. Just go on the 4th floor or higher, and so you don't cause a big traffic jam. And that will also add to any congestion that's going on Farrington Highway as well. And so, again, if you're in a high-rise, and this is not just for Ko'olina, Waikiki, Kaanapali, etc., go to a higher floor. You will be safe there.
Yeah, we're seeing the images emerge right now. Let's take you to a live look at Hokkaido, Japan right now. This is from a aerial helicopter shot as reports emerged several minutes ago that the first effects of this tsunami are already being felt on the global stage. Tsunami seen in Russia's Kuril Islands and in Hokkaido, Japan right now. Again, this is a live look from a helicopter shot. You see the response that you want to be looking for, right? Those heading for high ground. So this is, and at this time, no details have emerged in terms of damage. Right now is 4:10 p.m. You may be hearing some of the audio from the emergency alerts right now.
Yep. My
coming through
going off
on
right
our
now,
phone.
too.
You'll be getting this on your phone as sirens go off around the state right now. Sirens will be going off at 4:10, 5:10, and 6:10 p.m. As we're bracing and anticipating for what the effect is going to be from this tsunami warning after in I'm told the latest update from the National Weather Service is that it was an 8.0 quake, upgraded to an 8.7 about 20 minutes later.
Yeah,
about
USGS now has it at an 8.8. Marginal, but still, you know, a pretty good increase. And again, it gets it closer to the 9.1 that the Japan earthquake was. Very briefly about Japan and the live pictures that we saw in Hokkaido Prefecture, and that is that Japan has a very robust tsunami warning system. They've got sirens, they've got announcements, and people there know what to do, but especially after 2011. It's
Tsunami threat to Hawaii. There is approximately 3 hours to the first wave arrival, which is estimated at 7:10 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. The attention alert steady signal tone may be heard playing on all statewide outdoor warning sirens for public safety. Plan to start evacuating all coastal low-lying areas in an orderly fashion. Comply with all government law enforcement, first responders, and emergency management officials. Monitor local media. Repeat, there is a tsunami threat to Hawaii. The first wave to reach the islands is estimated at 7:10 p.m., Hawaii Standard Time. The attention alert steady signal tone may be heard playing on all statewide outdoor warning sirens for public safety. Plan to start evacuating all coastal low-lying areas in an orderly fashion. Comply with all government law enforcement, first responders, and emergency management officials. Monitor local media. Sent by the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency.
as more energy pushes their way. So something we're watching very carefully in hours ahead. Like we were talking about in deep oceans, you can see how far the epicenter is from Hawaii itself. It travels pretty quickly because of the speed that it's going over open waters. In deep ocean, speeds can reach up to 500 miles per hour. That's comparable to a jet plane. So if you went recently flying to the mainland and you calculate how fast it gets from point A to point B, that's kind of the same idea behind these tsunami wave arrivals. So arrival times early evening for Alaska, anywhere from 4:46 to 5:46 p.m. Alaska time. As far as along the west coast, early to late evening from 11:35 to midnight Pacific time. We're expecting that. Here at home, like we've been talking about, arriving just after 7 o'clock, with Honolulu seeing the first of the impacts. So we're expecting all of that energy to push our way. Once it reaches shallow waters, it slows down. There's a lot of friction there. We have, of course, the outer reefs that has to face, and that slows down to 30 miles per hour. And then it's very unpredictable what kind of energy we'll get when it comes to the strong currents. We'll have very strong rip currents, and that's why it's important not to be in the waters, even if it's not expected to be big waves. But initial heights may be falling between 0.1 to 0.3. This is all initial and preliminary, and then potentially they're saying now up to 1 to 2 meters coming our way, and that will be arriving probably after 8 o'clock. So a lot of elements, a lot of moving parts, and it's a very dynamic situation. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Jen. Yes, very dynamic indeed, but not a time to panic. There is lead time with an event like this. We are right now, it's 4:15, so about 3 hours out from the first anticipated wave arriving, the first anticipated effects here in the island chain. We've already seen footage of tsunami, the after effects in the Hokkaido prefecture in Japan, which is the first place it has impacted. We have crews across the state. Let's head over to Lynn Kawano, who is standing by live at Honolulu's Emergency Operations Center. What can you tell us, Lynn?
Mark, we are upstairs of the EOC at the Frank Fossey building. You know, city and county and state workers were all released about 3 o'clock today. That's so that they can go home, get their families prepared, get themselves prepared, and stay safe. But as a result, we saw hundreds of people leaving at one time. And of course, we now have traffic jams because of that. Always at about 4:15, we're going to have traffic jams. But when you have something like this, people trying to get out a little bit earlier, it's going to be even worse. You know, not a whole lot worse than what we normally see at about 4:15, but we do know that a lot of people took that time and left about 3 o'clock. The sirens just went off at 4:10 on time here in downtown. We anticipated 4:10. We were told 5:10 and 6:10 as well, but we did get a surprise siren about 3:24 today as well. That is just to alert people. While no one is panicking here in downtown, we are seeing people in a hurry trying to get home, trying to pick up their kids, trying to pick up their families as well. And, you know, as we saw people coming in, we stopped the mayor and talked to him. He said they were just getting activated, meaning they were just getting all the first responders here at the EOC downstairs. We did also get a chance to talk to Dr. Jim Ireland of the Emergency Services Department. Here's what he had to say is going on right now with his crews around the island.
Activate generators, bring in personnel. We also move ambulances that are in coastal areas, and they relocate to other areas that are not in the inundation zone. We have staffing for our ambulance bus and other larger vehicles in the event that we need to use those for medical evacuation, whether it's from hospitals or clinics or people who otherwise can't get out on their own. This is evolving.
Yeah, evolving is the word to describe it. We also saw HFD and some other first responders heading down to the EOC where they will have some briefings. Now, we have been told by the city and county of Honolulu, by the mayor's office, that we will get frequent briefings after they get settled and get themselves organized. So we hope to have that in the next 30 minutes or so. Back to you guys on set.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Lynn. Lynn Kawano standing by at the Emergency Operations Center at the Frank Fossey building. You saw what she was describing, right? Employees had the all clear to take off, but what ensued after that were the traffic jams throughout Honolulu, different parts of the city, you know, as people are heading over to their evacuation areas. We do have some information.
Yeah, the County of Hawaii has just told us we've been talking a lot about Oahu, but this is a statewide event. And so there are some counties or some areas that have opened shelters. So for Hawaii Island, County of Hawaii, emergency shelters are being opened at the following locations. So Pu'ueo Community Center, Pana-Ewa Park, Kea'au Armory, Pahoa Neighborhood Facility, definitely for Lower Puna, Ka'u District Gym, Na'alehu Community Center, Yano Hall, Kealakehe High School Gym, Waimea Community Center, Hisaoka Gym, and Honoka'a Gym. And so we just got this information in.
Yep.
If you missed the list, you can probably check in with Hawaii County Civil Defense, but we'll try to get that information online and also have a screen ready for you so you can take a look. Again, that's for the County of Hawaii. Oh, we also have a list on Kauai.
Yeah, Kauai as well. So that was Hawaii County. Kauai areas that are open for evacuation shelters are Kapa'a High School, Kapa'a Middle School, Ele'ele Elementary School, Koloa Library, Kauai Community College, Kala'a Hill Neighborhood Center, Kilauea Elementary School. Those refuge areas will have parking, restroom facilities available, and if you are bringing a pet, you're advised to please bring a kennel, food, and water. So we're seeing this statewide response right now as evacuation sites open in different areas. The counties have their respective plans. You also have the state keeping close tabs on it. We'll be hearing from the governor sometime this evening as state leaders get ready for this. Our very own Mahealani Richardson spoke with Hawaii County Mayor Kimo Alameda and has an update on that. What can you tell us, Mahale?
Well, Mark and Ben, I'm so glad you talked about those emergency shelters being open, because as that list was just being released, I was on the phone with Hawaii County Mayor Kimo Alameda, and he said all of the leaders of Hawaii Island are in that emergency operations center on Hawaii Island. They have gathered. They're making sure that people stay safe and are prepared. Here's what he had to say on the phone just a few minutes ago.
Sure. Right now we're at the EOC, all hands on deck. Every department is here, fire, police, you know, public works. We got state folks here as well, national parks, you know, and we're just getting prepared. So informing the public through our messaging system, social media, and, you know, I thank you for allowing us to be using your medium as well. So we're ready.
Governor Green has released state workers from their jobs this afternoon. What about county workers for Hawaii Island?
Same here. We already sent a memo out releasing all of our government workers, county workers. In addition, we also ask our county workers to take any valuables, computers, cash, you know, anything that is of value, because we have our facilities in the evacuation area. So we have to, you know, be cognizant of that as well.
And obviously, Hawaii Island, a very large swaths of area, especially for evacuation zones along the coastline. Can you tell us how the hotels are doing, especially on the Kona side and, of course, in Hilo as well?
Yes, we are in correspondence with the hotels. They are aware that they could use any one of our shelters island-wide, and we've been offering bus service as well to our hotel folks if they need transportation in getting to higher ground.
Are you hearing of any problems with traffic or people evacuating at this time?
Yes, there is significant traffic congestion, and so we just put out a message through our radio waves letting people know, you know, to be patient. You know, we have time. That's what this warning is about. It gives us time to evacuate in a safe and respectful manner, and that's our messaging going out.
Mayor, what about your grocery stores, KTA and other large grocery stores? Are people going there right now to get supplies? What's the outlook there?
Yeah, I haven't got information on that, but I suspect they are going out. We want to remind our residents to, you know, don't panic. You know, we will be okay, but we'll get through this. This is a warning. It could be, definitely could be a tsunami, and so that's why we have to really be ready for it. But we don't want people, you know, jamming our supermarkets and such. You know, it could cause, especially if those supermarkets are in the danger zone.
Mayor, what about for people specifically in Hilo, those long-timers who may recall the last tsunami? What are they saying today?
Well, you know, a lot of them still have trauma. You know, Hilo's a place where we've had many, you know, very strong experiences of the tsunamis that came by. I mean, you know, in my own family, my father, you know, he talks about 2 tsunamis in his lifetime. So, you know, we are taking this very seriously. There is a huge earthquake. It reminds us of the past, and so that's why we are all hands on deck, and this might be the one.
Mayor, we really appreciate your time. Is there anything else that you would like Hawaii viewers to know about what Hawaii County is doing?
Yeah, thank you. I want all Hawaii residents to know that we're doing I'm here at the EOC, and I'm watching our team, you know, collaborate, and I'm talking across jurisdiction. I mean, right now it doesn't matter. Everybody is working really well together. We're communicating. I'm so proud of the Big Island. We've been through this before. We're an island of resilience, and we are getting ready, and we're getting prepared.
And that was Hawaii County Mayor Kimo Alameda on the phone just a few minutes ago. Those destructive tsunamis that especially hit Hilo were in 1946, 1960, and 1975. So those longtime residents definitely remember, and that's why the mayor says that they are preparing in the emergency evacuation center, and also that they are preparing those emergency shelters, making sure that tourists in the hotel districts have buses just in case they need it. Also, Ben and Mark, I wanted to let you know that I just got off the phone with Alaska and Hawaiian Airlines. I asked them if any cancellations of flights at this point. They said there are no cancellations of flights, at least for Alaska and Hawaiian, but they will let us know. I also called Maui's airport duty manager. No closures at this point, but we're continuing to monitor that situation. That's the latest from here. I'm Mahea Lenny Richardson. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Mahea. A very comprehensive response, as we just heard from Hawaii County Mayor Kimo Alameda. These updates from state agencies are coming in throughout the afternoon into the evening. We just got this from the Department of Transportation, and forgive me, I'm going to just be reading these off here. Yeah. But DOT is saying they've released details for each island. So for Kauai, avoid Hanalei to allow people to evacuate. They are not closing Wailua Bridge. For Oahu, Like townbound has been opened. Kolekole Pass has been open to leave the leeward coast. Nanakuli Contraflow has been shut down. And on Maui, State Highways is staging vehicles and equipment. What else can you tell us, Ben?
Yeah, on Molokai, Ikalaupapa Airport and personnel are ready to evacuate to the lighthouse, which is at higher elevations there because it's obviously right next to the ocean there in a very vulnerable area. On Hawaii Island, Hilo Airport, commercial operations have been suspended to facilitate evacuations from Keaukaha because it's right next to the ocean, among other things, but then also Keaukaha. That neighborhood still has to be able to leave and get past the airports. Once again, commercial operations at Hilo Airport have been suspended. And for all islands, the Coast Guard captain of the port has ordered all vessels to follow their procedures to leave port. Again, Coast Guard captain of the port ordering all vessels to follow their procedures to leave port. Reason is you are a lot safer out on the open ocean because the tsunami will be very small. It's just going to be, you know, a little bit of energy, but you do not want to have your vessel caught up on the coastline when all that tsunami energy
slamming against the harbors.
Yeah, because it could. I remember in 2011 seeing Ke'e Lagoon and the La Mariana Harbor, and a lot of boats had been capsized. A lot of them, many of them had sunk. A lot of them had been bashed against the harbors and against the piers. And so if you are or know somebody who has a vessel, basically the Coast Guard is saying at this point, follow the procedures to start bringing your vessel to the open ocean. And so just get that prepared. You've got some time to do so, but make sure if you want to do that or need to do that, start getting it done.
So we are seeing these updates continue to come in from government, city, state, and county leaders mapping out this response right now. Anticipated first wave time for any sort of impact to the Hawaiian Islands is 7:15, around 7:17 tonight. We've already seen footage of the response in Hokkaido in Japan after the tsunami hit areas of Japan and also parts of Russia. The first effects following this 8.7 magnitude quake. Drew Davis has a closer look at the quake itself and the ensuing tsunami that has been generated. Drew.
Mark, Ben, of course, we've been talking a lot about the potential for the entire column of water to be moving across the Pacific Ocean. I want to talk about what's causing this compared to where we actually had the tsunami watch about a week ago. Last week's earthquake, the fault movement, was called a strike slip. It's where both of the tectonic plates near Russia were moving parallel and away from each other, causing the earthquake that we saw, but it wasn't enough to displace all of the water and create a large tsunami. However, what's possible with this earthquake, this may be a major thrust movement, obviously moving up a tectonic plate, displacing all of that water, and that's very, very common over the plate interface that's right near Russia. Last week's earthquake, where we had the tsunami watch, was actually atypical. It was a strike slip, and now we don't have confirmation just yet, but this is potential that it was a major thrust earthquake. Of course, let's take a look at the details out there. We've got a magnitude 8.8. Giving you a recap, we had an 8.0 magnitude earthquake issued around 1:30 p.m. this afternoon. That was upgraded around 20 minutes later to an 8.7. It has now been upgraded again to an 8.8, nearly a 9 on the Richter scale. Very, very strong. We've got a tsunami warning across the entirety of the island chain. Every area that you see right here in red is under that tsunami warning. Now is the time to take action. Again, move away from the coastal areas. If you're in a building, move at least 4 or 5 stories up to get as far away from sea level as possible. And of course, make sure that you're making preparations now. The earliest potential arrival of the tsunami over in Hanalei was predicted to be 7:10 and potentially 7:17 for other parts of the state. A closer look again at the tsunami energy. We have this fault line. Earth's plates are rubbing together, creating that underwater earthquake. And again, it's displacing this vertical push of seawater, and that's what moves closer to the shore, and it gets taller. That column of air here, a column of water here, gets pushed up, and that's what makes these waves so tall. It spreads into shallower waters, and it grows in height. That's why it's so damaging. Again, like we've been mentioning, it's possible that this tsunami, when it arrives around 7 p.m., could be arriving around high tide for some of the state. So around 7 p.m., we could be seeing 0.1 to 0.3 meters, potentially even up to 1 to 2 meters around 8 p.m. This is tsunami surges of energy. Again, this is unpredictable, strong currents. We're watching this very, very closely to see how this evolves. This is the time to take action. This is the time to be prepared right now. Just a deeper look at the magnitudes out there. Again, this is an 8.8. We typically see an 8 around once per year. So we see a large earthquake like this around once per year. A 9 once every 10 years. So this could be close to that, 1 every 10 years. And of course, we are under a tsunami warning. Now is the time to take action. That was a closer look at what's going on. Let's send it back to Mark and Ben.
All right, thanks very much, Drew. Of course, we have had some areas that are starting to back up. We're having reports of Alameda Boulevard backing up over from Waikiki as people try to leave. But once again, you should do what your hotel does if you are visiting. You do not have to leave the hotel if you're in a high-rise. If you are, go up to the 4th or higher floor. It's what is called a vertical evacuation. And so don't tie up traffic that way if you don't need to leave, especially if you're a visitor and you're in a high-rise. You should be safe on the 4th floor above, but do not go to the beach, because the Department of Land and Natural Resources has had officers that we've seen earlier this afternoon trying to get people away from the water. Yes, it's a couple of hours beforehand, but they don't want to take any chances as far as anyone not having heard of the alert or something like that. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes people will not be getting the alerts on their phones like we had at 410. So
it's happened several times already where the alerts have gone off on our phones on air. The first official siren came down at 4:10. There will be another one at 5:10, at 6:10. Once again, all leading up to the anticipated first arrival of the effects from this 8.7 magnitude quake. We are getting videos sent into our newsroom from across the state. We want to play something and give you a look at what the scene on Maui when the sirens came down. Again, this is not a live siren. This is when the siren occurred earlier this afternoon.
Of course, people in Kahului now are starting to leave because Kahului is in a low-lying area. There are several areas that are definitely at risk of a tsunami. That looks like that's around Maui High School, maybe? That looks like that area, one of the places that were evacuation areas. We haven't had a list yet, or we haven't gotten a hold of the list yet for any refuge areas or any shelters for Maui County as of yet. I'm pretty sure there's one out. We just haven't had it. Here's more from Maui, but this is Oahu actually.
Yeah, so that was the moment the tsunami warning sirens went off on Oahu.
That's the Kalihi YMCA on the right, so that's going up Likelike Highway.
Up Likelike. Horrible traffic around Oahu right now, as many are leaving for evacuation sites. It officially became a tsunami warning about 10 minutes before 3 o'clock this afternoon, after which we saw traffic jams throughout different areas of the city. This is in a Cook Street parking structure. You know, you can imagine private businesses told their employees to head home. State and city workers were told to go home. So everyone hitting the roads all at one time. You can also expect to have plenty of lines at grocery stores, gas stations as well. What we see in these types of events, that is a look right now at the alert that came down. You know, that applies to Hanalei, but we all got some sort of version of this in expectation of the 710 wave.
Yeah, once again, this is a statewide event, and do not be alarmed. Well, don't panic is our basic message. Again, 4:35 right now. You've got about 2.5 hours, if I'm doing the math correctly, to take action and do what you need to do. Here's a list of the Kauai emergency shelters. Once again, Kapa'a High School, Kapa'a Middle School, Ele Elementary, also Kauai Community College. We also have the Kalaheo Neighborhood Center and Kilauea Elementary School that are open, and Koloa Library is also open. Again, that's a list of the emergency shelters. On Hawaii Island, we've got Pu'ueo Community Center, Panaeva Park, Kea'au Armory, as well as Pahoa Neighborhood Facility, Ka'u District Gym, Yano Hall, and then a little bit farther south in Ka'u, Na'alehu Community Center, the Kealakehe High School Gym, the Waimea Community Center in the upper elevations for those who need it, and also Hisoka Gym that's located, and the Honoka'a Gym. Those are the Hawaii Island emergency shelters.
Yeah, we're compiling different lists of the shelters at you know, each of the different counties. If you didn't hear moments ago, we just got this update that the U.S. Army and U.S. Navy have opened Kolekole Pass from Lualei Naval Road to Lyman Road. This route is now accessible for emergency use and may be used by residents as an alternate evacuation path. Motorists are advised to use extreme caution and follow all posted signs and instructions from military and emergency personnel. The pass will remain open until the all clear is given by Emergency Management Authority. So Ben, Kolekole Pass being opened and being used for what it's designed for, in events of a disaster and an emergency situation, providing accessible relief for Leeward Coast residents.
Yeah, there's always been this concern as to what would happen in an emergency, a hurricane, a tsunami, an earthquake, for areas like, for example, hate to say it, but Lahaina, one way in and out. That's very accessible. Also, obviously, the Waianae Coast, there's like 16% of roadways around Hawaii, which are just one way in and out of a particular area. So we understand what's going on in Waianae, the Waianae coast. If you are in an area where you can go into higher elevations, because you do have the valleys, you do have some areas where you can go a bit further inland and be out of a tsunami evacuation zone. But if worst comes to worst and you really need to get out for whatever reason, or you've got relatives who are outside of the evacuation area or outside of the Waianae coastline, we understand what you're going through. Be patient. But again, Kolekole Pass has been opened by the military for your use to evacuate and will remain open until an all clear is sounded. And that obviously hasn't happened yet. We're still under a tsunami warning.
What we're seeing right now is the transportation response to all of this, right? Because you have so much time before the first anticipated arrival, these are the types of updates you're seeing. So Kolekole Pass is open back up. We just got this notification that the Hilo Airport is closed as of 3:30 p.m. No commercial flights in or out. So once again, the Hilo Airport has been closed, anticipating, what we're going to be seeing from this wave. And then also, we saw that shot earlier from Waikiki. Those still on the beach, here's an update in regard to Waikiki. International Marketplace will be closed for the remainder of the day out of an abundance of caution for the safety of tenants, employees, and guests. That isn't, because people would be going to shop at this moment, but we're saying that as an indication of what's going to be happening in the surrounding area. That's going to be one of many businesses closing its doors for the day if they haven't already.
Yeah, I think it'll be plenty obvious for a lot of people that, trying to leave or get around, or, thinking, why is the store closed? But again, it's because we are under a tsunami warning once again. Again, International Marketplace is closed. We also have a lot of areas where the traffic is backed up.
Yeah, we're getting video of traffic sent into our newsroom from all across Oahu right now. This is heading out to the Kaneohe area. So if you are in this, you're listening to the audio on your phone, listening to our newscast. Thank you for joining us. But, you are not alone in the traffic right now. We are seeing traffic heading out to the windward coast, heading out to the leeward coast. The opening of Kolekole Pass should alleviate that. There's traffic around town on the freeway as people are heading out to their evacuation sites or stocking up on supplies.
Also, we've been hearing from the Coast Guard about vessels at sea. Obviously, we are an island state and surrounded by the Pacific Ocean, and the tsunami will be coming in. The Coast Guard has been telling vessel owners to get their vessels out to sea and follow those procedures. We have some video of one of those boaters preparing at the Alawai Small Boat Harbor.
I'm just gonna get prepared in case I have to hitch it and take it into higher ground. I'm just gonna untie it, get everything ready, hooked up. So all I gotta do is hitch up and throw it away.
What do your other buddies out here have to do?
They gotta go out. They have to, unless they're gonna ride the storm, they're gonna have to go out past the swell.
With a tsunami, that's pretty safe.
Yeah, if you're on the other side of the swell, but it looks like the swell is gonna be coming from the north, so it'll wrap around the island like this. So they'll probably have to go out this way.
So once again, the Coast Guard telling people to get their vessels out to ocean, or if they are on land, to definitely get those vessels away. This is a shot of people in line to get gas at Eva Beach right now. And so there are a lot of people trying to prepare, get some last-minute gas in case there are electrical outages, but just basically to top off at this point. So again, use some patience here, because there's a lot of traffic, a lot of people trying to get their preparations done because of the tsunami warning, and also to be getting out of areas like Eva Beach to try to, basically be out of an evacuation area.
And we continue to receive these images. Here is a aerial view from Ala Moana, overlooking Ala Moana and Atkinson. You can see just the traffic all along Ala Moana Boulevard, which is to be expected. This is something that turned into a warning just before 3 this afternoon, moments before an expected rush hour. Right, Ben? So you have all these people on the roads right now. DLNR It's going throughout the coastlines, clearing people out, telling people to leave the area. You have many employees who are in the downtown business district or throughout Honolulu heading to the roads right now. So a high view. Traffic is just horrible right now. Please be patient, but this is a matter of not panicking, but be prepared. There is time. So 7:10 is the expected arrival of the first wave following an 8.8 quake in the far east region of Russia. And this is also what you see typically in these types of moments, right, Ben?
A lot of people getting their water over at Costco. At last check, I don't know, there might still be some, but people are getting their supplies. This is not like a hurricane, but at the same time, there is still the possibility that maybe infrastructure could be affected because some of the coastlines have some of the electrical places. Hiko has the Kahe power plant. Maybe it won't be affected, but it is a major power producer on the island of Oahu. Also Pearl City, that power plant there too, pretty close to the water. And so there are indications, well, no, I won't say indications, it's just that there is the possibility, but people trying to be prepared, getting their water at Costco earlier this afternoon.
Everyone's getting prepared. City officials are getting prepared. We have a shot from inside the city's Emergency Operations Center right now. You see Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi in front as the city's emergency officials have gathered, just waiting to see what will be unfolding, monitoring any updates that may be coming in right now. This is a statewide event. All of Hawaii is under a tsunami warning right now, with the first wave expected to arrive at 7:10. Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Robbins is tracking those updates and has information for us. Hey, Jen.
Mark and Ben, all very good information that you have been sharing. We have been seeing some of those updates coming our way, and I have to say that this, which is great news to see that the city and the county has been prepared, and it looks like everyone is preparing well. Just a reminder, tsunami warning is in place due to this large earthquake that occurred in Russia at 8.8 magnitude, the depth at 19.3 kilometers. And with this caliber, that's why you could see the waves travel so far, as fast as a jumbo jet. We're talking about 500 plus miles per hour traveling over open waters with those tsunami waves. Tsunami warning is up, and it's going to be up throughout the next several hours. First wave expected after 7 o'clock. The closest to the epicenter is where the biggest tsunami waves have been reported. Of course, just off the coast of Russia here. We're talking about 3 to 4 meters, 9 to 13 feet has already been reported. And the NHK reported the first tsunami wave at 30 centimeters. So not very large in Japan quite yet, but they're expected it to be quite large into the next couple of hours. This is how it's going to break down. The tsunami readings already coming over Russia and Japan. Hawaii expecting to forecast anywhere between 1 to 3. That's where it's going to fall under, at 3 to 10 feet expected. So expected after 7 o'clock. Guam expected the same kind of forecast at 1 to 3 meters, and that's 3 to 10 feet as well. None confirmed yet there. History has shown this magnitude with the depth in between 8 and 9 in 1959, magnitude 8 from Russia. It generated anywhere from 0.1 to 0.2 meters. That was just under a foot, expected under about 0.3 in this situation. Hilo saw the most damage in past tsunamis, and with all the boats and also the caliber of this, it could create even some foundation concerns for some of the houses that are very close to the shoreline or even right at the harbor there, all those boats that are parked there. So this is the time to prepare. This is going to coincide with the strong currents, rip currents coming our way, very unpredictable, as you know, and possibly some coastal flooding coming our way, coinciding with the high tide. So the high tide is peaking at 7:03, expecting the first wave to come our way at about 7:10, and it is coming in at 1.52 with that high tide. So on top of that, we're we're getting that tsunami energy coming our way. So for the first wave of energy, expected it to fall maybe at 0.1 to 0.3 and potentially could get up to 1 to 2 meters. It highly depends on how fast it travels over open waters and unpredictable with those strong currents like we're talking about. So a lot of moving parts, a lot happening, and we're getting closer to that 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock hour. So definitely prepare calmly, but I have to say, guys, it's amazing to see the city, county, and all the residents come together in a fashion that has been fairly calm despite the chaotic news of the tsunami coming our way.
Thanks very much, Jen. We are, of course, trying to cut through the chaos and give you some calm, cool, and collected information. So once again, this is not a time to panic, but it is a time to take action. A lot of people, unfortunately, are taking action all at once. It's not their fault, but it's because the tsunami warning came down and then everybody started leaving at once. Case in point, Ala Moana Center, of course, the stores started closing there, and we did see a big traffic backup coming out of the parking lot. I think we've got a little bit of video of that. You can see traffic
and this is
at a standstill.
This is happening in parking structures all throughout the city right now and all throughout the state as everyone was leaving at the same time once the warnings came down. We are also receiving some new information on kind of the effects of this tsunami in other parts of the world. We had mentioned that a tsunami has already been seen in parts of Russia near the quake's epicenter. Japan was also under a tsunami warning, and Hokkaido is seeing the effects. Information is emerging from Hokkaido. The Japan Meteorological Agency said a tsunami measuring 1.3 feet was detected in Tokachi on the southern coast of Hokkaido, the northernmost of the country's main islands. And so early readings are coming in, Ben.
Yeah, it's a foot, and 1.3 feet may not sound like much, but once again, we will still have to be on the lookout for strong currents because once again, this is not just the ocean surface, this is the entire water column that's being affected. And so we're going to at least see currents. We also have traffic, not only in Ala Moana, but also Ko'olina. This is what we are seeing getting out of that area. Most of these people, hopefully, were folks who were on the beach, who were maybe in the lower townhouses. But once again, if you're in those taller buildings, out in Ko'olina or anywhere else, if you're in the hotel district, if you're in an office building, 4th floor or above, that's where you should go. You will be safe there no matter the size of the tsunami. So again, 4th floor and above, do what's called a vertical evacuation. You don't have to leave the area, just go to a higher floor, 4th floor or above, and you will be safe.
We've seen traffic in Waikiki, Ala Moana, parts of urban Honolulu, out on the leeward coast at Ko'olina. We also have shots of the driving conditions along Oahu's windward coast right now. This is the Kaneohe Kahalu'u area. As you have traffic, and this is also an area too where, much like the leeward coast, a lot of high degree of concern among residents here to make sure that you have an evacuation plan and you have something in place, you have somewhere in place in times like this.
Yeah, especially this area, you're going to see a traffic backup nonetheless because all these homes that you're looking at, they're very close to the ocean. No doubt they are in an evacuation area. Also, some people had to be told to evacuate. This is what it was like when HPD has been going out along the coastlines telling people what they need to do.
To evacuate Ala Moana Beach Park. We are locking and securing the gates in 10 minutes. We are locking and securing the gates in 10 minutes. If you fail to comply, you are subject to arrest. The tsunami wave is expected to be hitting soon. Once again, you need to move to higher ground. You need to move to higher ground. You have 10 minutes.
Yeah, definitely clearing out Ala Moana Park, a very popular place for, at this time of day, there would be a lot of people swimming, a lot of people jogging or walking, and so there are, again, Ala Moana Beach Park is closed. Don't go there, and as police have been saying, you're subject to arrest. Also, Kekaha, Kauai, we have video from that area of the traffic backup along the highway, so there are a lot of people trying to move away, to move to safe safety, moving to higher ground, or at least maybe get home if they're one of those workers or people who are at work, trying to get to their family or their loved ones to make sure that they're prepared as far as tsunami preparations go.
And a lot of these shots that we're seeing of people driving out are mainly in the coastal areas, right? So Ko'olina, Kekaha, Kaneohe, and Kahalu'u. So, you just have residents in the area taking action, and there is lead time on this. The first wave is expected at 7:10. The next siren is expected at 5:10. So that's going to be in the 5 o'clock hour at 5:10, and there will be another one at 6:10. We have some video of the moment the sirens came down on Maui earlier this afternoon. Again, this is not a live siren. This is from earlier this afternoon.
So that's one of the first indications, at least on Maui, as the siren sounded. We did have the first siren sounded about 3:25, a little earlier, but again, sirens are going to be sounding hourly, 4:10, 5:10, 6:10, as we look at Kahului with Iao Valley off in the distance. We also have some traffic backups in Waikiki. A lot of people trying to get out of that low-lying area. Alawai Boulevard backed up as well. We have some video of that, and you've got 3-4 lanes of traffic backed up considerably, some viewer video. So just again, use patience, because there are just a few roadways. Kapahulu Avenue, you may want to take Montserrat and then cut across over to Diamond Head. If you want to take Montserrat and try to get to Kahala and go back up, that's one thing that you should be able to do.
Yeah, and even when there isn't a tsunami warning, commuting around that area can be difficult at times. But that is a look at Alawai Boulevard. You're seeing a statewide response to this event right now. All of Hawaii is currently under a tsunami warning following an 8.8 magnitude earthquake. Tsunami has already been seen in parts of Russia and Japan. I am told that we have an interview with Kauai's mayor, Derek Kawakami, talking about the county's response. I will be informed when that is ready to go. But we're getting in touch with city leaders. Earlier we heard from Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi, Hawaii County Mayor Kimo Alameda. Let's go back out to Waikiki right now. I believe this is a live shot. What we saw earlier this afternoon were state officers patrolling the coastline, telling beachgoers to please vacate the area. There are still some on the beach, but it looks much better than what it was about an hour and a half ago when you saw many still in the water. I think also some of the hotels and the businesses may have been helping out with the evacuation response as well, because if those spots are going to be closing, you just want to get everyone to safety. This isn't a time to be frantic about what could be happening, but be in a safe spot right now. Don't let yourself get caught into a situation where it could get hairy. And then also too, as we approach the top of the 5 o'clock hour, the expectation is that we'll be hearing from Governor Josh Green in a news conference. We see Kauai County's Mayor Derek Kawakami. We're told he is ready to go. Mayor, thank you very much for joining us. First off, what is the message that you want to impart about safety for Kauai County residents?
Well, I think you covered it perfectly. I think right now the #1 mission is to get everybody to higher and safe ground. If you're in a safe area, then stay safe. Being on the road unnecessarily is adding to the traffic. Right now our EOC is fully activated. Our IMT is ongoing with planning. It's all hands on deck. The #1 thing that people can do is stay calm, stay safe, try to stay off of our roads if you don't need to be there. And if you're a low-lying area in a tsunami evacuation zone, you should be seeking higher ground.
Yeah, like I said, Mayor, we've got about 2 hours before the first wave is expected to, the first wave is expected to reach the Garden Isle. So let's say we've got about an hour and a half to basically prepare to get to safety. What should people be doing in the next 90 minutes?
All right, I believe our connection dropped off. Great question. We'll get to it and we'll relay it. Okay, we have Mayor back online. So what was that, Ben?
Yeah, I think, Mayor, I don't know if you heard the question, but we've got about 90 minutes at most, I will say, to be safe. What should people be doing, Kauai residents be doing in those 90 minutes?
They should be getting to higher ground. Material items are replaceable. Right now, if you don't need to be on the road, you should absolutely not be on the road. You should be seeking higher ground, and people need to stay calm. Right now, there's a sense of almost panic. The worst thing that could happen is causing an accident when people are trying to evacuate. So please, if you're in a safe place, stay there. 2 hours are gonna come real quick. We're trying to evacuate people that are in dangerous areas. And so what people should be doing is staying safe. If they're already safe, try to stay there. And stay tuned. Our best information for Kauai residents is kauai.gov/KEMA, or our county Facebook page is being updated regularly.
And I think, Mayor, also because there are a lot of coastal areas, because Mount Waialeale basically keeps people from going in or building in. The thing to remember as well, and I'm also talking about maybe visitors to the island, is that most of the roadways along the coastline are 2 lanes, and so you're going to have to practice a lot of patience. Is there anything that, say, law enforcement or others are trying to do as far as guiding traffic, or at least trying to bring some control to the situation?
Yes, they're all there right now. Hanalei is a very tricky spot with the number of 1-lane bridges. And also, people should not be inundating our 911 line if they don't have an emergency. If they're looking for information, please go to our website. Right now, our dispatch is being inundated, quite frankly, with non-emergency calls. They can get all the information they need from our website or our Facebook page. But yes, we are very challenged by the number of lanes on our highways, and that's why we're urging people that if you are safe and don't need to be on the road, do not be on the road.
We saw, too, that there are a number of shelters that have been opened up. What can you tell us about the resources available at these sites?
Well, right now, the number one thing and the number one resource is that we have these shelters open. As we proceed and see the impact of this tsunami, we will be able to get more resources out there. But the number one thing is we have a number of shelters that are open. People can take a look at our website to see specifically what shelters are open, and we will open more if needed, and we will close some if that is necessary too. But like I said, I think the number one thing people should do is not actually look for a shelter, but just get to higher ground. They can figure out the shelter after we get through this.
And not only just looking for a shelter, but just to make sure, again, for people like in Hanalei, the thing that I've been telling people is that not to do is to try and be like a looky-loo. You know, I want to go see the tsunami. That's something that you really shouldn't do.
Oh, you don't want to be that person.
Definitely. All right.
Kauai County Mayor Derek Kawakami, thank you very much for joining us, as this is a statewide response. Stay safe out there. The Kauai County and the counties across the state have this event covered right now and doing their best to get updates out in a timely fashion, making sure residents aren't panicking. We are going to take a quick break right now. We're just going to reset, and then we'll be joining you shortly.
Should we push the timeline?
Should we outsource? What do you